This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not.
Welcome back to the Warner Brothas Podcast. I'm Kyle, joined today by my boy Timmy. What's up, Tim? How you doing?
Doing pretty good.
It is, and I can't believe I'm saying this, week 14 of the NFL season. This is our first picks pod in probably at least a month. It's kind of crazy how that ironed out. Technically, actually, me and Keenan did one last week, but I feel like this is the first true picks pod because that was a Wednesday pod before the holiday. First weekend edition, probably at least a month, man. Glad to be back. This is the good thing about these picks pods is we know what games do and do not matter. So we can kind of skim through these more so than if it was week 4 or 5 and everything's kind of in the middle there. So we can kind of go through a couple news and notes I do want to get to before we start. We were kind of just chatting about it. Deshaun Watson will be on the Browns roster. That's interesting. Who knows if that means he'll actually start. I feel like he would at least be used to the speed of the NFL more than Shedeur right now. Shedeur seems like he's a step and a half behind right now, maybe. He's doing okay, but, I don't know. Me and Keen were talking about it the other day. Like, when Deshaun was in his prime with Houston, how much of a force this guy was. Like, how hard he was to tackle, how much you could make an argument if you wanted him over Mahomes. Mahomes was certainly exciting, but Deshaun was like truly a big game quarterback, like a clutch quarterback and would make plays.
An MVP candidate.
It's crazy. It's insane.
And yeah, he fell off pretty hard when he went to Cleveland, but it's Cleveland, so it kind of makes sense. And then obviously the injuries kind of piled up. So not to mention the lawsuits and all that, they probably got to take a toll on your mental there. So
At least.
Yeah, I don't really know. I was expecting this because if you go look at the contract, there's nothing they can do about it. They're like, if they cut him, they lose $100 million. It's all guaranteed. Like,
how many more years does he have?
I think next year's the last year.
Not bad then. Not bad.
It might be one more after that, but like there is no getting out of that contract. So like there's no option, which is kind of why they took 2 QBs in this draft. So like if you struck gold on one of them, then you don't have to pay for a free agent or somebody to come in there and do that. To be completely honest, I think he'll be okay. I think there was a stretch before he had the Achilles injury where he actually looked pretty good, and that was with the worst offensive line in football he was playing with. He was under pressure like every single play. And then he gets injured, and now everybody kind of remembers all the bad in Cleveland. The roster wasn't very good. Like, it's worse. It could be worse. I don't think Shador's taken his job. People need to kind of get off the hype, I think, on Shador. I fucking hate it. Oh, every single big Instagram page, Bleacher Report, like, what's the one? I'm Barstool. I don't know why Barstool was blanking me. They're all over about how good he is and how he's led them to a win in his first week. He played the Raiders. He had a 50% completion percentage. He had 180 passing yards, and he had a 65-yard screen pass touchdown. That should say enough that he's not quite there. So, yeah, I don't know.
I feel like this is your version or your generation's version of Tebow Mania to some degree. Except the reason why Tebow Mania was such a thing was he actually, once he got the starting job with the Broncos, he somehow won.
Yeah.
And went on winning
Bad
streaks.
statistics.
That was a wild time. Horrible statistics, like worse than Shador statistics.
Yeah.
But won, and you could even argue like, yeah, Tebow's the reason why they at least came out with the win. Like the defense was unreal, and they definitely held them in. But you could make arguments like, yeah, Tebow closed the deal time in and time out.
And they beat some real teams with Tebow. Shador beat the Raiders, and then they looked anemic against the 49ers, who have a mid-pack defense. So, we get a great test this weekend with Tennessee. That could be really good for Shador. But
should be a classic.
If it's not, then just write him off. Right?
talk about Cleveland Browns, man. That's the Brown Bowl. That's the toilet bowl right there. That game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah. To respond to what you said, like you're right. It's funny enough. 2 years ago, 23, when the Browns really had their last successful season, they made the playoffs there with Flacco because Deshaun got injured. Deshaun was playing his best football before or since his Texans days. Gets injured. I think he injures his shoulder. And it looked promising to where you could throw him in as a starter last year in 24. He starts off as a starter, and he was just awful. Awful, 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 and it led to his torn Achilles. But there was some light there. I think actually the last game before he hurt his shoulder in 23 was against the Ravens or something like that, and he actually like kind of tore him up. Like it looked like he was on the up and up. Then the shoulder injury, and then of course again the Achilles last year. So I do think
in the game that he tore his Achilles, he was lighting up the Eagles, the
Really?
Super Bowl winning Eagles. He was like first half, he played really well. They were in it. It was like 16-20 or something at halftime, and then he tears his Achilles, and the rest is history. So
crazy. I didn't even realize I was against the Eagles. I don't know. There's got to be some ability still in there somewhere to where he can at least compete with Shador. And I don't think Shador is bad. I think if you're asking me to judge right now, I'm not going to give a friggin' prognosis for his whole career, but right now, he at least looks like a backup spot starter. Like he seems like he could be that for a team. Maybe he eventually becomes more. Maybe he is the starter people said he was. Right now, he at least looks like he could play in the league compared to some other backups. But I agree, man. Like, I think if for some, let's say Shador starts off as the starter next year, QB1 for the Browns, if he gets any wins at all, or if he plays any sort of successful enough to where you can like make an argument, it's gonna become TiVo mania, where it's just gonna be him leading the story or leading the football coverage each week. Yeah, it was annoying in preseason, and I feel like it's died down a little bit. My algorithms aren't so Shador focused, but I definitely still do see the friggin' just the discourse around it. The discourse, it does seem like it's getting to almost Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese level, which is annoying. Like I've seen, again, it's not popping up as much as my algorithm, but the stuff I see about it, I'm like, what are we talking about? This is a backup QB right here. Like, what are we talking about right now? Like, let's relax on what we're talking about and what we're saying.
the worst thing I saw was after the Raiders game, one of these big accounts, I don't quite remember who, posted, should the Browns trade Shador and get a haul for him? And I was like,
A haul? They said
a
haul.
5th round pick that just beat the Raiders. You think like he's worth anything more than a 5th round pick? They're not shopping him because nobody's shopping for him. Like, what are you talking about?
Well, we said news and notes, and really it's an AFC North edition of news and notes. Maybe even a little bit of gossip once we get to the last topic. But this has at least been reported. Steelers are not going to fire Mike Tomlin. He will be back for 26, team option for 27. So great chance that next year is the last year for Mike Tomlin, unless something happens over the offseason. But it does seem like he will at least have one more season. I'm just going to ask this, Tim, and we kind of alluded to it when we did my Tears podcast, which, by the way, go check out parts 1 and 2, YouTube, YouTube, Spotify, Apple. Do you think they get to 9 wins? Do you think they can keep the streak going with these last 4 games? Do you think they get to 9?
Oh, they need to go 3-1. Yeah, they're 6-6. And they play the Ravens twice.
Mm-hmm. Might even have the Bengals in there once. It's a rough schedule.
They
have the roughest
Lions
one out of them, the Bengals and the Ravens. They have the roughest schedule.
It's Ravens twice, Lions once, and then Browns and Dolphins. So I think they can. Like, I think they could split with the Ravens and then beat the Dolphins and beat the Browns, and that's 9 right there. I don't think they will. This is another thing, like, people are, like, really, there's a lot of discourse right now around Tomlin. We saw Ben Roethlisberger have his take saying that he never thought Tomlin was a great coach. He thought he was a good coach, and that he thinks that they Oh, wait, I might be confusing this. Roethlisberger said that he thinks it's time for them to mutually part ways.
Okay.
There was another analyst that said he never thought Tomlin was a great coach. I think it was a former player, I swear.
Okay.
He thought he was just a good coach.
Okay.
And now they're talking about, do they fire him? I've been on this for 5 years. Okay, they're the definition of what they were last year and the year before that and the year before that. Like they're going to be a team right around 500 that if they make the playoffs, they lose in the first round. That happens every single year. Why people are talking about it now, after in the offseason he just signed that extension. They just put him under contract for a few more years. Like I've been saying it for a long time. That contract didn't mean anything to me, or my opinion at least. But now all of a sudden people are like, well, is it time for him to go? It's been time for him to go. Like he should mutually part ways. It would be the best for the Steelers, I think.
Their front office is interesting. I don't think they've done him any favors these last few years. Going back to like the end of Ben Roethlisberger's career. I agree with you. It does feel like it's Andy Reid with the Eagles type of tenure right now, because Andy Reid was with them, I believe, for at least a decade plus, had unreal success with them, lived in the NFC Championship game, got to a Super Bowl, lived in the playoffs after that. And then I think they had an average season and then a bad season. He was out of there. I think he was hired by the Chiefs the next day. I think that's exactly what would happen with Mike Tomlin. When they do eventually part ways, and I think it will be inevitable, if not this season, then next at the end of 26, I think he'll be on the block for maybe about 2 days, and he'll get a great job, and deservedly so. I think he's a great coach, but I do think stuff has run its course in Pittsburgh. I do want to segue from there, Tim, and I'll let you take the reins on this. You sent me probably about 2 or 3 hours ago something on Instagram. Very interesting. This is more under the realm of gossip more so than it is news, but I think it's not only relevant, but I think it's legit. So I'll let you take the reins on this. Go ahead.
Well, I guess we got a Reddit post from a player's ex is the source, and supposedly this person had real hard facts, and they gave them to all the moderators of the Reddit channel. This was posted in r/Ravens, so this is like all things Ravens football. And they posted to the mod saying like, we have proof this is real. Bunch of stuff about the Ravens, which I will pull up here. The first thing coming to mind was most of the players seem to be on the same page that they could do without Jim Harbaugh or John Harbaugh, which is crazy because, you know, we view him as like one of the best coaches in the league. That caught me off guard for sure. Wasn't expecting that. They said that Matabuki is already retired. He's already moved off to Texas. He's never coming back, which is mind-boggling that we have absolutely no news on that. The surgery in the offseason part, they said a lot of people get surgery in the offseason, but they don't report it to the team so that they don't get press on it. That's whatever. I mean, you are a human beyond an NFL player, so if you go get whatever, I don't care. And then the last part was that at every single game, they have to have security guards outside of all the hotel rooms because people are trying to like dip out and go cut curfew and go do things on the town, which maybe the Cowboys should take notes on that because it seems that Pickens and CD keep getting out, which is crazy. But
that made it sound very much high school and college, having security.
Exactly.
Like, can you imagine like a security guard trying to corral like an NFL to try
bunch
to
of offensive linemen, yeah, and they're just like, fuck it, just I don't care. Like, what are they doing? Like the tape on the door trick, where once they open the door, it breaks it, and then we know you skipped curfew. It's like these are grown ass adults. They get paid a fuck ton of money. If you've kind of lost them at that point, maybe it is time for Harbaugh to go. We'll see how the season ends. It's really tough for them because like Lamar hasn't been playing good, but he's obviously still dealing with some injury. He got stepped on in practice this week, so he missed a day of practice. So he might be hobbling because of that, which is tough because now they're in like a must-win scenario. But we've seen it in the past. Lamar is not afraid to take time off, get his body right, in lieu of them making the playoffs or anything. So I'm confused. I had told you not too long after I sent you that post that I had seen a post a little while ago saying that there was a long tenured head coach that had made it known to their whatever that they were looking for a change of scenery and that they thought Maybe they leave and go find a new one, or maybe they just take time off from football for a while. Wouldn't surprise me if that was Harbaugh. He's been there for 2 decades, like a long, long time as their coach. He's already a Super Bowl winner. You could say you're one of the most accomplished. Call it quits if you want. I mean, it's one bad season. I think that would be kind of a crazy place to get to, but still.
Yeah, the Matabuke news was the most interesting to me, just because we've seen players get severely injured during the season. In his case, a neck injury. It happened early on in the season. And we've seen players retire from that. Like, yeah, I can't come back. It seems like it happens even not once every year, once every couple years. Like someone will retire midseason due to injury. So the fact that like he might not be back and like the team knows about it, why wait till the end of the season? That I don't understand. He's only 28 as well. I mean, I don't remember the reporting on this in September, but it doesn't seem like people were saying, hey, this could be career threatening. I mean, it kind of goes without saying with the neck injury, but I've heard, I think it was Sean Lee, Cowboys linebacker in the past, like he had a neck injury and people said like, hey, could be a risk when he comes back. I don't remember that being the reporting around Matabuke. So that's super interesting to me. And I looked this up after you sent me this, and I guess he had a cryptic Instagram post or tweet yesterday, like literally yesterday, around the same time this news dropped from this Reddit post. And then the other part of that would be that Lamar is on board with John Harbaugh, parting ways. That's super interesting to me. If coach and QB are not on the same page, or Lamar's like, hey, yeah, maybe it is time for greener pastures. I don't know. What do you think? My idea of the AFC North interdivision coach trade. Tomlin goes to the Ravens. Harbaugh goes to the Steelers. How do you feel about that hypothetically?
It's such an interesting trade there. Like Tomlin would low key be already with one of the more talented teams he's had in the last 5 years, at least since the Big Ben era. So I would think that Tomlin would figure it out. I don't know if Harbaugh would figure it out with the Steelers. Like he kind of has like the blueprints and just look at what Tomlin has done for the last 20 years and just say, let's do that again. But I feel like Tomlin's one of one where he's like, he might be the only one that could do that every single year. So I don't know how well that would work out for Harbaugh. I think Tomlin would probably be okay with the Ravens, but I definitely wouldn't have any playoff confidence in them. I would probably say that they're a similar team to the Steelers. As we've seen the Ravens lose in the playoffs time and time again. Yeah, it would be interesting. Wouldn't ever happen. That would probably be the last thing on everybody's bingo card to ever happen.
That would be a wild day in the NFL, because those are two of the most heated rivals in the NFL. I don't know. I think Tomlin could get playoff success out of the Ravens. And if it's not a trade, let's say they dismissed Harbaugh, and then at the same time, Tomlin was dismissed. I don't know. I kind of like the fit with Lamar and Tomlin, and the fact that you would have more defensive personnel on the Ravens side of things. So Tomlin could get whatever you need out of them. Tomlin really is a raw guy, and, I think on the later years of Big Ben's prime where they had talented teams, especially on the offensive side of the ball, maybe the Patriots were more complete, or maybe the Chiefs, once they started going, they were more complete. And it was a pretty deep AFC, depending, especially at the top. So the Steelers were kind of fitting in. So I do think there's room on a different team for Tomlin to return to his elite coach. Right now, I'd say he's probably a pretty good coach. Hard to call him great after this season, but also Rodgers looks DOA. So hard to say.
How do you have a quarterback play football with a hard cast on his left hand? How can you catch a snap? And how we saw it in the Bills game. He got hit from behind one time and he fumbled it immediately. Like, you cannot hold on to that ball with one hand. How are you saying that this is the best course of action for our team right now?
And we're going to see this with Herbert on Monday night against the Eagles.
My hope is that, so we saw Herbert at least got the surgery. My hope is that they have him in a soft cast and he can at least put his hand on the ball. Rodgers, his whole entire palm was covered with that hard cast. It was just fingers that you could see.
Impossible.
How do you play football? I could get it if maybe you're a running back, but Maybe. Even then, I still wouldn't want to.
Impossible. Tim, let's get these picks. Let's get to these games. We've done the news and notes enough. Let's get to these games. And like I said, we've got lesser games this week, and we'll start with the toilet bowl. We got the Titans going to Cleveland to face the Browns. Excuse me. Browns are a 3.5-point favorite. Since you've already actually put your scores in the group chat, Tim, I'm going to let you take the lead on all these, and then I'll follow up with my score. So what do you have this game scored as?
Works for me. I don't know what the over-under is. My guess is it's probably like 33.
33.5, actually.
Hell yeah. Take the under. I think it wouldn't surprise me if neither team gets to 15 points and we get like a 13-7 game. I don't see the Titans scoring a touchdown. Funny enough, I picked them to. I don't think they score an offensive touchdown. If they score a touchdown, which I'm picking them to, it will be either a Shador pick six or it'll be a kick return. That's actually one thing the Titans have had a good amount of success with is kick returns and punt returns. I'm taking it 18-7, so I'm taking it 10 points pretty much under the under here. I think the Browns' defense against one of the worst offenses in the league is just, that's what's going to happen. They're not going to score more than 10 points. So I know we've seen crazier stuff this year. It wouldn't really surprise me if all of a sudden this game has 45, 50 points in it somehow. But Shador Sanders, I don't have a whole lot of faith. 18 points, I think, feels right. So 18-7, I'll take Cleveland.
All right, let me give you the Titans' remaining schedule after this Browns game, okay? Mm-hmm. They've got to go to San Francisco and play the Niners. Then they welcome the Chiefs.
Oh, great.
Then they welcome the Saints, and then they end with the Jags. We'll probably have to, take that game seriously. So they definitely have two winnable games, this one and then the Saints game. This one being on the road. With that in mind, Tim, I was actually initially going to pick the Titans, but the fact that they do have that Saints game and that Saints game is at home, I think this team's all-time bad. I don't think they're one win bad. I think they at least get one more win. It'll be either this one or the Saints one. I'm going to say they win the Saints game because it's at home. So initially I was going to pick the Titans, but I'm going to go Browns here. Let's go 14-12. 14-12, low scoring, ugly game.
Love it.
It is.
I wouldn't be
at home.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans beat the Jags week 18. That's a very Jags finish to the season.
Can't rule it out. It cannot be ruled out. Absolutely cannot be ruled out. Not at all. Next game we got Broncos going to Las Vegas to face the Raiders. Let me get you the line on that. That is I'll scroll down here to the 4 o'clocks. Broncos are favored by 7.5. What'd you score this game, Tim?
This one, the first time they played was that ugly Thursday night game. I don't see that happening again. I think the Raiders are starting to figure some stuff out, but they're still not great. And then the Broncos defense is still pretty solid. So I think they'll probably just pull away with it at the end. I have this one, Broncos winning 23-13. I think that's pretty much the range that we're going to get. But I will say that is pretty sure, like, damn near the exact score that I picked the first time. So, we've been saying the Broncos are kind of like a fraud. Wouldn't be surprised if they let up 20-something points from the Raiders on this one, and the Raiders at least give them a scare here.
For sure. I got to say, I don't think the Broncos are necessarily fraudulent. I don't love them on the road. And I think them being favored by 7.5 on the road is insane. I'm actually going to score this 21-17. I think the Raiders hang around. I even think the Raiders, because they got the Chiefs one more time, I think the Raiders even play the Chiefs tough. Like, I think the Raiders will at least be competitive down the stretch here, but it's hard to make the case to pick them over anybody. That being said, would I be shocked if they won this game? No, it seems like the Broncos are due for a loss. They love to win ugly. But I do think overall that loaded defense, I think Bo Nix can make one play to get it done for 21-17. But we have seen here and there a better Geno, better offense overall. So, but they can't block anybody. They're facing one of the best defenses in football. Next game I have, this is actually a good game, Tim, but it just has no bearing on the postseason. That's Commanders going to Minnesota face the Vikings. Jane Daniels is actually coming back for this game. Very interesting. It's good if you want to get him reps. To me, I'm personally worried for him because it's like, why? There's 4 games left. Why? But I also understand it to some degree. Commanders, and by the way, JJ McCarthy will be back in this game as well. Commanders are
That's what I was gonna say. Not only Jaden Daniels coming back, so is JJ McCarthy.
A 2024 QB draft class showdown here. First round picks. Commanders are favored
2
by
top
1.5.
10 picks.
2 top 10 picks. 2 top 10 picks. 1.5 point favorite the Commanders are. What'd you score this game?
This one, I think the Commanders are just a better team. The defense in Minnesota is definitely better than the defense in Washington. But, dude, that offense, Minnesota's offense is bad. And I think with the Commanders' defense being so bad, it will let them score more points. But I have a little bit more confidence in the Commanders. They actually look pretty decent against the Broncos with Mariota. Or Mariota, or whatever they were calling
That's right.
him
Yeah.
on the broadcast.
Collinsworth was heavy on the Mariota.
What the hell?
Yeah, like, and that is probably the proper pronunciation. I think I've heard Mariota pronounce it
Why'd
that
they
way.
wait?
But why'd they
to
wait his
tell
whole
us?
career? They're like, all right, he's no longer a starter. He's like, let's make sure we get it right here. Mariota.
I got it. I got a 24-19. I think the Commanders just get it done. I do love Jaden Daniels. He's a great QB. Kind of been like thinking like the whole, are they playing him for the last 4 weeks of the season thing? You know, it is tough. Like if he didn't get the arm injury, he would be playing in these games no matter what, all the way up until week 18. They would never just sit him, just in case he gets hurt, you know? So if they think he's good to go, then let him. Yeah, maybe they have to kind of build a little bit more confidence in the offense because right now they got to deal with Debo. I don't know. I think he's got one more year after this. It's going to be an interesting offseason for Washington. So I think they do want to see what they got right now. They really haven't had more than a 1 month stretch with all of their pieces healthy this year. So if they can do it now, which it looks like with Debo and Terry, they're healthy. So let's see what we got. You know, I don't mind it.
Fair enough. My concern with Jaden would be that he's been injured 3 different times this season, and having to miss games. Yeah, no, you do want to get reps at the end of the day. The Commanders are one of the most boring teams in the league to me. And that's crazy because there's teams that are worse than them who I think play a better brand of football. Like, for instance, I'd actually somehow, this might sound a little crazy. The Raiders are bad, but I feel like you're getting more entertainment value than with the Commanders. The Commanders have just, anytime I've watched them, it feels like it's been a bland brand of football. Because of that, and literally only because of that, because I don't think JJ McCarthy is a starting level quarterback at this point in his career. I'm going to pick the Vikings because they do have a more well-rounded team, I think, than the Commanders. And maybe Jaden has some rust there. Other than that, like, it is a pretty even game. That's why you see the 1.5 there. But Vikings at home, they do have a real defense. Maybe Jaden's got some rust. Maybe JJ McCarthy makes enough plays. We'll call it 24-20 to the tune of the Vikings. These last few games of this lesser important window that I have set up, they've somewhat got playoff ramifications, so maybe they're a little more interesting. Next, we got the Dolphins going to the Jets. The Dolphins are favored by 3 going to the Meadowlands. What do you score this one?
The Dolphins have actually been playing pretty good football. They've been at least trying to win all these games, and they've been in all of them. They are at the point in the season where one loss puts them out. Like, I think they get almost eliminated with one loss. It would be crazy for them to make it if they lost. I'm definitely going to take them over the Jets. I think they are a better football team on all fronts than the Jets right now. And we've seen a little bit of good from Tyrod Taylor, but don't love that going forward. So I'm going to say we get a bad Tyrod Taylor game. Even that, still giving them 14 points for the Jets, but I'm taking the Dolphins 23-14.
I agree with you. I do think the Dolphins are the better team. They've won 4 of their last 5, so they're on a hot streak here. But you know this. You're in the Northeast, man. It's been pretty damn cold. And Tua in the cold, I think that almost makes it, an even quarterback matchup between him and Tyrod. The one saving grace here, I would say, for the Dolphins, we've seen them turn more so into a running team rather than an air attack team, which is great because Achane's their best offensive player. If they stick to that and we get game manager Tua, sure, anyone's game. I'm going to stick with the cold weather Tua, though. I got the Jets to cover, and I got the Jets to win. We'll say 23-22, last-minute Nick Folk field goal, Jets.
Back-to-back Jets W's? I don't know if I could have said that preseason.
Right?
That's tough.
They still got some talent. They've got lingering talent, and honestly, if this game's in Miami, I'm probably not even thinking about it. And even if this game's 50 or 60 degrees, maybe, I'm still giving the Dolphins the edge. But for me, it's Tua's got to prove me wrong that he can actually win a cold weather game, because it does look like it's going to be about between 30 and 40 degrees and some wind. It's pretty windy over there in the Meadowlands anyway. Next, we got the Saints going to Tampa to face the Bucs. What do you think about this game? Shucks actually played a pretty good brand of football. Like, it seems like they've been less competitive than with what's my man saying? Well, I can't remember. Rattler. Seems like they were more competitive with Rattler. Maybe this is because of injuries, but Shucks' stats have been actually pretty damn good. People are talking about maybe him just being the full-time starter next year. So what do you have this game scored as?
I agree with what you just said. Shucks seems to be a better game manager style football player for them. Rattler definitely had the arm where he was willing to take some deep shots, and when they had Rashid Shaheed there, he was taking them pretty consistently. But I do think Shuck is probably better for this football team. They've been kind of competitive, and usually when they play the Bucs, they're competitive in these games. So I'm going to take the Bucs, but I'm going to have a 6-point game, 22-16. With Shuck, I feel like the teens is exactly where they're going to score most weeks, and they might be able to win a game or two doing that. The defense has played pretty decently. But yeah, I don't think the top end is there for them with Shuck, whereas there was a little bit of flash with Rattler willing to take those deep shots, but Shuck is going to be, shorter area targets, but he's going to be better for the team.
I'm going to go 27-20 Bucs here. They're at home. Again, the Saints is a lesser team, obviously. We talk about all the time, though, these NFC matchups, NFC South matchups, for whatever reason, end up being competitive, no matter the score, no matter the record, no matter the matchup. Bucs just need a win. Bucs not only need a win, they need to look good in this win. If you could get to 27-20 and maybe cause a few turnovers, like just have some rhythm overall as a team, very beneficial for them. Because, man, they were everyone's darling the first 6 to 8 weeks of the season, and since then it has been not as pretty. So they need a win. This is a get right spot for them. They lose, man. Panthers coming off that bye, like I think they get the Panthers next week or the 2 weeks from now, maybe. Seems like it might be next week.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, Bucs need to win. Bucs need to win. Let's go here. I don't think I gave you the line for that, actually. And Keenan will have this, but the line for that, if you're wondering, the listeners and the viewers, Bucs are favored by 8.5. It's a lot of points.
Seems a lot. Yeah.
Next, we're going to go Rams at Cardinals. It's in the 4:00 window. The Rams, if I had to guess here, let me see, 9.5. Rams are favored by 9.5.
Makes sense.
No Kyler Murray for the rest of the season. Probably will never see Kyler Murray again in the Cardinals uniform. Jacoby Brissett. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is out for this, so they're going to continue to be banged up. What do you got for this one, Tim?
And you kind of just laid it out there. The Cardinals are banged up. Jacoby's actually been passing really well, but this is the Rams defense, good defense, coming off a brutal loss, like a tough loss. I think they're going to be hyped up, ready to crush a team, and I think they will. I'm going to take the Rams 30-10. I think they put the beat down on them.
Same score as you for the Rams. I'm going 30. I think the Cardinals stay competitive, though, 30-18. But yeah, man, the Rams coming off a loss, divisional opponent. I think the Cardinals will be competitive, but I think the Rams pull away and get the cover too. So 30-18 Rams. Very similar matchup. We got the third team in the NFC West here that's playing this week with the Seahawks facing the Falcons, going to Atlanta to face the Falcons. Seahawks are favored by 6.5 in this game. What'd you score this week?
I think the Seahawks will dominate this game. Their defense has been playing great. You pair that with Kirk Cousins throwing the ball, bad things are going to happen for Atlanta. So I'm going to take it 28-17. I think they're going to crush them. You can pretty much pencil in a defensive score here, or at least 3 or 4 turnovers in my mind. So I like what Seattle's doing. They are a good team. I don't know how I'm going to pick them in the playoffs. I really don't. But they're probably going to walk into the playoffs as like an 11, 12-win team at this point.
You said 28-17? I'm going to go 25-16, a weird, ugly score. That's what I envision for this game. If this was at home for the Seahawks, maybe I'm talking double digits. I do think the Falcons are going to give them a game. But there is a version of this where, man, they just get to Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins can't get downfield, and it's all over. However, we have seen Atlanta's defense show up, especially at home. So I do expect a competitive effort, even though they're out of the playoff picture. They're at 8 wins to where they can still talk about, like, hey, if we went out, or excuse me, 8 losses to where they could talk about, hey, if we went out, blah, blah, blah. So maybe you get a strong first half from the Falcons. I think it'll be competitive, but ultimately I do think the Seahawks not only are the better team, but if you saw my tiers, I think they're a top 4 team in this league at the least, and for sure, top 5 team. Moving on from the less important games, going to the marquee games of Sunday. This is a 1:00 game. This probably would have been flexed to either the 4:00 window or the 8:00 window had Joe Burrow been playing all season. We've got the Bengals traveling to Buffalo to face the Bills. Bills are favored by 5.5. Tim, what do you think is going to happen in this game?
Joe Burrow on the Bengals, T. Higgins coming back. What we saw last week against the Ravens, and they've got the Bills favored by 5.5. The Bengals also have the Bills number. They have just absolutely cooked them for the last 5 years straight. I'm taking the Bengals 26-21. They're going to keep their playoff hopes alive here. Pretty much when these two teams play, it's offense. Don't worry about the defenses. The offenses are going to score. You're not going to stop elite Joe Burrow with all of his weapons, and you're probably not going to stop Josh Allen against the Bengals. So we'll probably get a good game here. We'll probably get right around 50-something points. I'm going to take the Bengals, though.
You know what? I wish Joe Burrow would have came back 2 weeks ago when he faced my team in the Patriots. Because then I think I would have a better feel for this game. Yes, he played well against the Ravens. Yes, he's fully healthy. Everything you said is correct. They've got the they got the Bills number. I think he's got a winning record against Josh Allen for his career. But it's hard for me to pick against the Bills at home. It's hard for me to this is Burrow's second game. We're just throwing him in against the Bills on the road. Could be cold weather. We just talked about it, what it's going to be in New Jersey. Yeah, it's not going to affect Burrow as much, but they still have a bad defense. Yeah, they look good against the Ravens, but Lamar's injured. They looked a little better against the Pats. Okay, that's a 2-game sample size where they looked okay. Not great, not good, okay. It's a stretch for me to believe that they're actually going to beat Josh Allen, the Bills. Now, again, had he come back 2 weeks ago or had he been playing since midseason, I might be with you. I just think it's a lot to ask with Joe Burrow. However elite he is, I think it's a lot to ask. So I agree with you. I think we're getting points. I'm going to pick the Bills 31-28. I got it close. But I think it's a lot to ask. Will I be shocked or surprised if they end up with a win? No, I actually encourage it. I hope they do win. Obviously, the Bills are in the AFC East, so I'd root against them. But also, for the chaos in the playoff picture, I would love for the Bengals to win. I just think it's a lot to ask of Joe Burrow in his second start back. But it's going to be one of the more intriguing games and the best game probably of that 1:00 window, honestly. Any more thoughts on that game, or you want to move on?
I'm good. Move on.
Colts going to Jacksonville. Brandon Petty's Jacksonville Jaguars. They are a home underdog in this game, the Jaguars are. 1.5-point favorite are the Colts. How do you score this game? How do you assess this game? I want to hear it.
I expected myself to take the Jags. Like you said, they're at home. But this is the exact game that people would look at last week and they say, hey, they just dominated the Titans. They could win this game. This is the exact game that the Jags lose. They give up control of their division to the Colts if they lose this game, and Houston if they lose. Then the Colts are now, I believe, 2 games out ahead of them. So I'm taking the Colts. I think this is a very must-win game for the Colts. They can kind of take back control of their division. I would really love to be ahead of Houston by 2 games going into the final few weeks of the season than just 1 game. So I think the Colts are a better team. Defensively, the Colts not going to have Sauce Gardner. That sucks. I just don't believe in Jacksonville, and they're the exact team that they lose games that they should win. And if this is a game they should win, then I'm absolutely picking against them.
Tim, you gave every reason why I should not pick the Jags in this game. I am going to pick the Jags in this game. I do think that right now, this week, they are playing better than the Colts. They are probably the better team than the Colts. Whereas overall, season for season, roster for roster, the Colts are the better team. But going into week 14, the way Daniel Jones is banged up, the way Jonathan Taylor has not been running the ball as effectively, and let's say the Jags get up, let's say they're up 7 most of the game, and the Colts just got to play a little bit of catch up. I don't love Daniel Jones and his broken tibia, fibia, whatever it is. I don't like him in that situation, where you're taking away less carries from Jonathan Taylor and you're making him play chase. I don't love that situation. So 23-20 Jags, but you're right. You're right. I mean, there's going to be a point in this game, whether they win or lose, there's going to be a point in this game where it looks like the Jags have got it all figured out, and they're going to do something absolutely ridiculous that allows the Colts back into the game. And you're like, and that's win or lose, right? Only the Jags will find a way to win after they do something ridiculous. So I do think there's a world, though, where the Jags can win by double digits, too. I do. Just the way the Colts have looked. But you're probably right. The Jags will find a way to keep the Colts in this game. And the Colts are probably the better coach team. And then, I don't know. If they can play ahead and give Jonathan Taylor the rock a lot, there's a world where they win. And again, I only got it by 3 points, but
I'm trying to find one of Brandon's last texts, because at some point in this game, Brandon will text the group chat and say, like, my God, Trevor Lawrence is the worst quarterback that's ever existed.
Yes, you can book it tomorrow.
That's a lock.
We will get a text from Brandon, and it'll be like, it could just be an incomplete pass from Trevor Lawrence. It could be like a 3 and out where he's got a bad
just
pass.
Sail it over their head.
Like, give me a new fucking quarterback next year. Like, cut him. You can book that. Book it. And that's win or lose too with Brandon. Next game, talking about divisional games. We got what's usually a classic, but I think it's going to be a very ugly one, and not in the defensive way, in a bad QB way. And it's crazy for me to say that because we've got 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks in this game. You heard me and Tim talk about these 2 coaches about 20 minutes ago. We've got Mike Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers going to Baltimore to face John Harbaugh, Lamar Jackson. Neither of these teams have looked great over the past month. I think this is going to be a disgusting game. What do you think?
I think we're getting a disgusting game. I don't know what the over-under is. I'm taking the under.
I think it's actually a high over-under because of it's not high, but I think it was originally 44.5. Now it's 43.5.
Keep betting it down, guys. It'll keep going.
Let's keep it right at 43, ideally, because that's a good number there if you want to get it.
I'm taking it lower, quite a bit lower. I'm going 16-10. You know what I'm going to say? Not a single offensive touchdown will be scored in this game.
Okay.
We're going to get a Steelers pick 6, and we're going to get a fumble, or we're going to get a bunch of field goals and a safety. Like, either way, we are getting defense in this game. No offensive touchdowns.
Who's winning?
Ravens.
Okay. Same score for the Ravens. Same result. Different final score, though. 16-13 Ravens. Cover from Tomlin. I think there's going to be a stretch here where we actually think the Steelers are going to win. That being said, like, Lamar's popping back at people on social media, talking about, like, all right, you're going to say that about my poor play? Like, say less. Watch what happens Sunday. So we saw this last year, too, in December, where, I think they had an ugly matchup to begin the season where it was close. I think the Steelers might have won
15-10. Steelers won.
Yeah, and we're all talking about, like, maybe it's a similar game. At least the Steelers will cover, and then the Ravens ran away with it. They give us no reason to think that's actually going to happen unless Lamar just magically turns it around. But I agree, he looks hurt, he looks injured, does not look like the same guy. 16-13. It'll be entertaining for all the wrong reasons. I agree. We're going to get a defensive touchdown, and who knows what other fuckery is going to happen in this game. 3 more games here. We're going to go in order here. I think this is actually the best game of the whole week. You got the Bears traveling to Green Bay, face the Packers. A true test for the Chicago Bears, fresh off of beating the Eagles in Philly. So back-to-back true test for these guys. Packers are favored by 6.5. Tim, what do you think's going on?
6.5 is a lot.
It's absolutely.
I heard a stat. It's the biggest spread by a 1 seed underdog since like 1950 or something like that. It's like a stupid stat. It's like has not been like that. Obviously, it's probably not 1950. I don't know if Vegas betting was there at that point, but still, I'm taking the Packers. I think they're just the Packers. Jordan Love during Toyotathon is like a real thing, and it's like the whole cold weather Packers just seem to play better. So let them keep rolling. I'm taking the Packers 27-19. I'll probably pick them.
Packers to cover too.
I do, and I'm probably going to take the Packers in a similar score next time they play in 2 weeks. I think the Packers are getting right. I think they're like lining everything up to make that Super Bowl push.
You might be right. You very well might be right. I don't think the Packers have shown us. Honestly, again, I keep referring to that week 2 game where they went Sunday. Who did they face that Sunday to open the season? I can't remember. Oh, Lions. They beat the Lions. They out-physical the Lions, and they go on Thursday and dominate the Commanders. I don't think we've seen 2 or 3 consistent weeks from them since then. We'll have weeks where they look like a contender, weeks where they look uninspired. This should be an inspiring week. I think the Bears cover. I am going to take the Packers with you. I think it's going to be 23-20 Packers, and maybe they split. I do think the Bears have earned our respect after that win in Philly, the way they dominated them. I still didn't know what to do with them in my tiers. I put them as the alleged sleeper team. I think they'll show up. I wouldn't be shocked if they won. But you might be right. Again, you might be completely right about the Packers. They got to prove it to me, though, that they can actually win a game by margin, especially against a divisional opponent. 23-20 Pack. And then we'll go to the Sunday night games then, which is feel a million different ways about this. Chiefs are favored by 3.5. Texans are probably the hottest team in the league right now. How did you score this one?
Chiefs, Texans?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry. Blacked out there for a minute. I really like the way the Texans are playing. Defense is unreal, and the offense is good enough to win with the defense. I really wanted to pick them to win, but it's actually like illegal for them to win this game because the Chiefs have to have like a chance at making the playoffs. So like they won't let that happen. So I'm taking the Chiefs. It's like against the rules for them to lose here. So 23-21, Chiefs walk-off field goal. There'll probably be some controversy. I think we're going to get a decent game.
I think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a playoff game. Texans aren't really scared to go into Arrowhead. We saw them compete well with the Chiefs last year. Stroud didn't have the best game, but that defense most definitely showed up. Tim, you're right. I was going to say exactly what you said. I think the Texans right now are the better team. Not necessarily head up, but the fact that their defensive line is better than the Chiefs' offensive line, and the fact that they're the hottest team in the league, my only hang-up would be that Arrowhead is an extremely tough place to play. And then my other hang-up is exactly what you said. If the Chiefs are going to go down, right, because it seems like they only have 1 loss left. I don't even want to say it like this, but I'm going to say it like this. Would the NFL really let them lose in week 14, right, because they have a couple other games of consequence? And, I mean, every game of consequence for sure, but they've got a couple tough games after this one. They've got a couple easy games. They've got the Titans. They've got, I believe, the Browns maybe. They've got a couple easy games. Raiders. They've got a couple easy ones. No, it does seem like if it's close, they would get a call. Funny to say that because they actually got hosed on a couple calls against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. I'm with you, man. I think we saw the Texans dominate the Bills' offensive line, and I think the Bills have a better offensive line than the Chiefs.
Yeah. Chiefs just put Simmons on IR, too, so they're down him. Be bad, but It's the NFL's darling. They're gonna do what they can. So
I'm with you. What'd you score it?
24-21.
I'm gonna go 23-21 Chiefs. I'm not happy about it. I'm not proud of it. I think the Texans again are the better team, but it's really hard to see them losing at home after losing to the Cowboys. And again, they got to go on a run here. They got to get 5 straight. So I don't know. But then there's a world where it's very much like the Eagles Super Bowl of last year, the Bucks Super Bowl of before 2020, where, hey, if your offensive line can't compete and you're facing a dominant pass rush, you've seen what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a run game really to speak of against a dominant against a dominant defensive line. So I think this will be a very tough game for the Chiefs. Mahomes did have a pretty good game against the Cowboys. What do you have? 4 touchdowns?
Mm-hmm.
That the game I'm
And
thinking
like
of? So,
300 plus
yes.
yards. He was cooking.
So that was probably his best offensive game all season, for being honest. I think he had another 4 TD game a few weeks back. So Mahomes has really got to dig into that well and be the all-time great quarterback we think he is if he's going to win this game, that we know he is.
Mm-hmm.
But the Texans are live. Texans are more than live. Final game here, Monday night. Eagles going to LA to face the Chargers. Eagles are favored by 2.5. Tim, let me start by saying I like the Eagles in this game. I'll let you give the score first. I like the Eagles in this game. You did send me along the same time you sent me the Ravens news and all that and the whole gossip that's going over there. You sent me that the Eagles have a blown up, like a big giant positivity bunny in their locker room. I thought this was fake. I was like, what am I reading right now? I did not think this was real. And you said there's no way they're winning the Super Bowl after that. I completely agree with you. No way in hell the Eagles are winning the Super Bowl with a positivity bunny in their locker room. Apparently this was the offensive line's idea. If this was Sirianni, I would have lost my mind. I still want to lose my mind over, honestly. I will take them to win this game. I am not taking them to win the Super Bowl. That is alarming, and that is the most like participation trophy ass shit I've heard of in the NFL in quite some time. So give me your score.
Coming into this week, knowing that this was the Monday night game, I am a Amarian Hampton manager, and he's been on the IR now since week 5. I knew he was coming back for this game. I was so ready to just take the Eagles to win this game. I thought that they would, dominate this game. But what we saw last week, what we saw the week before that, they have no Jalen Carter in this game. They've already ruled him out. I think the Chargers can get it done at home. I'm taking them 27-20, and I think it's a rushing attack that gets them. We're going to have Herbert with the surgeried left hand, so I think they'll kind of baby him a little bit so he's not making all the deep throws and all that. But I think we're going to get a good coaching game from Harbaugh. Right as the Cowboys lose, and it makes it look like they're completely out of the playoffs, the Eagles, if they lose, are still only 2 games ahead of them, so it's not a crazy shot that they make it. I think they need to lose this game to keep the NFC interesting. So I'm taking the Eagles to lose this one. And then, and only then, people will start to believe me with that the Eagles are not true Super Bowl team. They're not a good offense. That Jalen Hurts is not a top 5, hell, even top 8 QB right now. All of it. People are going to start to really believe me.
I think there's a lot of people who would agree with you that are NFL fans about the Eagles. Like, people don't hate the Eagles as much as they hated the Chiefs of last year or the last 2 years, but I think there's people who definitely think the Eagles are frauds. I think they win this game. I think this is a get right spot. I hope for your outcome. I know Dallas, and we didn't even talk about Dallas and Detroit. Detroit looked great. Jahmyr Gibbs is that dude. But, I still think Dallas was, good in that game. And I still think right now, head up, I think Dallas is better than the Eagles. I believe that. That being said, man, if Herbert hadn't had surgery and had the same injury as Aaron Rodgers, and they actually just listed him as questionable, which was interesting to me because we heard since last week that, yeah, he's probably going to play, shouldn't be in jeopardy, got surgery, da-da-da. They listed him as questionable coming out of today, I believe. So, I don't know. I don't know what to think about it. Yeah, there's no Jalen Carter, but they can still dominate that Chargers offensive line that's really banged up. I was going to pick it actually 28-24, but that's insane. The Eagles have given us no reason to think they can score points. Let's go. I'll give you an ugly one. Let's go 18-15. Very light cover. I said I love the Eagles in this game and gave you a light cover with 18-15. So I feel a little faulty there, but I don't know. I agree with you. I hope the Chargers win. I hope we get more chaos in the NFC, especially when it comes to the Cowboys. Because again, I'd love to see the Cowboys in the playoffs. Who knows? Who knows? It looks like the Eagles will eventually get to 11 wins. And they will be miserable going into the playoffs. Their fans will be miserable. And it'll be the same old song. That's it for games, though. And again, positivity, Bunny. Fuck are we doing? Fuck are we doing here? Any bold predictions, Tim, for the weekend or anything else you want to get off your chest before we depart?
I got nothing coming to mind. Oh, I do have a question about basketball.
Oh, yeah, let's get to it.
Can OKC break the win record?
Looks like it. Absolutely looks like it. It'll be tough because Warriors won 73-9. So we're talking minimum 74 wins. And we're saying if they like really break it off, they get to 75-7 or better. That's insane. What could derail it, of course, is if SGA were to get injured. I feel like they could just lose 2 or 3 in January or something like that. You know what I mean? Everyone's healthy. I'll tell you this. Everyone's healthy. Yes, they could beat it. And if they did, I think they'd go the way of the Warriors. I think they'd find a way to lose in the playoffs. I think that's a lot of energy to expand. The Warriors, it was enough energy for them to expand, for to win 73-9. They started off hot. I think they started off 20-1. Me and King looked this up the other day. Started off unbelievably hot. And I thought they would lose eventually maybe to 11 games. And they kept up the win streaks, 173. And honestly, probably still beat the Cavs. They were up 3-1 on the Cavs, right? Draymond Green doesn't get suspended. They probably win that series. Most definitely win that series, I think. This league's a little bit deeper. The West, in particular, is a little bit deeper. I think it would be extremely hard for them to win 74 or 75 games, then go win in 7 against the Nuggets and the Rockets. They are 2 legit contenders. I could absolutely beat them in 7 games. And then you'd have to go face the Knicks or the Cavs or someone like that after, who's, a step down from the Nuggets or Rockets, but a formidable opponent nonetheless. So that's a lot to ask. That's a lot of games to win. Yes, they can break it. I think it's going to be close. I think, honestly, it'll come down to the last month or two for them to, how close it'll be. So I think they'll if they were to lose it and not, get to 74-8, I think at the most they lose 12 games, truly, 12 or 13, which is insane to say. But no, they can absolutely do it, and they look poised to do it at this point. Great question.
Now, what about if the OKC Thunder trade Chet and picks
for Giannis
and get Giannis?
If that's a thing, I don't think they will. I think they should, honestly, to some degree. Why wouldn't you?
They have a ton of picks. They've traded phenomenally for the last 5 years, and they've just loaded up on all these first-round picks. Half these first-round picks are almost lottery-worthy picks. So they have good picks. They have a lot of capital to be we just need to give you one player and then a bunch of picks. Even just swaps are valuable.
They are in a league that's not set up for long-term success. The way they've got the cap and whatever the hell their cap set up now, it's insane. And who can and cannot make trades. The Thunder are legitimately set up for the next decade. They draft unbelievably well. They've already drafted well. They've got players who are just stashed away. This happened this year. What's my man's name? AJ Mitchell. Didn't do anything for them last year. Looks like a legitimate 6-man, if not starter this year. Can just give you 20 off the bench. If they flipped Giannis for Chet, so you're saying, give me a timeline. Give me a timeline when this trade happens.
I think they would. It would be, when is the deadline for trade deadline?
Trade deadline's in February.
Right? Okay. My assumption is they would wait a good amount after the Giannis injury has kind of blown over. So January 10th.
Mid-January. What's the Thunder record at this point? Give me a hypothetical. Give me their losses. Give me how many losses they have at January
10th. 4. They're cooking.
So they can only lose 4? Is Chet the only player they're giving up?
Only meaningful player. If they give it, I mean, they might give like a bench player. I don't know basketball enough, so I don't know if like every player is worthy something. But if they're giving up Chet, I'm assuming they're giving up a handful of picks on top of that.
For sure. Here's the thing. They would obviously be better with Giannis. I wouldn't even blink with taking them over, like I just mentioned, Denver and Houston. I probably wouldn't even blink at the Thunder winning the title if they traded Chet for Giannis, a handful of picks, and then, maybe a bench player that's not of consequence. Wouldn't even blink at it. They would for sure be a better team with Giannis than Chet. Though Chet can stretch the floor a little bit. He can hit. I don't know if they'd beat the Warriors record after.
Gotcha.
Giannis is such a big piece, it might mess up the rhythm, and that's part of the reason why the Thunder are so successful right now is because of their chemistry and rhythm. So it'd be tough. But that being said, they play, for a football reference, like that stretch we just had of the Eagles where they were just holding everybody under 14 points seemingly. That's the kind of defense the Thunder can play on a whim. And Giannis is that level of defender. So if he just was like, all right, we're on go, I'm not missing any games, maybe here and there I'm missing some games, and they could do it. They are that talented and that deep to where they could do it. If you want a definitive answer, I would say that they would eventually lose on the record part, but they would absolutely, I'd feel better about them winning the ring, but I think it would be close, especially since you gave me 4 losses. If we're talking they got 2 losses then and they're getting Giannis, yeah, I might say they have that record wrapped up. But 4, you only have 4 more to go with half the season left. It'd be interesting. It'd be very interesting.
Camden had asked me that question, was just, where do you think Giannis goes? And I was like, trying to think about all the teams. And if he goes to OKC, it's wraps. Just give him the title, cancel the whole season.
Here's the thing, Tim. Here's the thing with OKC, they have enough assets and just like a young player like Chet, like you said, Jalen Williams, I couldn't see them giving up. And I really couldn't see them giving up Chet. But if they wanted to, name a player, they could go get him. That's the kind of assets they have. So, like,
nobody's untouchable.
So when you say Giannis for Chet, they should do that. They should do that, even though Chet's younger and this and that. But Giannis is an all-time player. For instance, like when the Lions and Rams made that move for Stafford, they gave up Goff. I didn't think Stafford would be playing, because that was 4 years ago now? I didn't think Stafford would be playing at this high a level at this point.
I think longer. I think this is year 6.
Okay, yeah. So I feel like Giannis has got much more in the tank. Like Giannis is still in his prime. Yeah. He's gotten hurt more. Obviously, we see that, as of this week, but he's one of them. He's definitely
can still win a Defensive Player of the Year or even an MVP.
Absolutely.
He's absolutely still that guy. Of the teams I would want him to see him go to, like I said, OKC would be crazy. I don't think that happens. I think if Adam Silver lets that happen, that would be crazy. It would just be, that would be nuts. The Spurs, that would be crazy.
I agree.
To see Wemby and Giannis, that would be crazy.
To see 2 aliens? Yeah.
Exactly. Like, how do you defend that?
How do you defend that? And not only, me and Keen were talking about this exact scenario when I was there for Thanksgiving. And I was saying, like, you could have average defenders on the perimeter. It wouldn't even matter because they would cover up the whole floor. They would cover up the whole entire floor. And any Wemby injury concerns you had, you kind of help it with Giannis because he can win a game on his own. So, yeah, no, they would be frightening.
I think that's the big one is San Antonio. I would also like to see him in Miami. I think that would be a good spot. I think we would see him just dominate. I think Spoelstra's a great coach, and he'll just get him open, run a good offense with him. I think it would go good.
I would love him in Miami, actually. I'm with you there. My favorite, I would love to see him with the Spurs the most. Miami would be cool. Just the fact of them having Giannis and, again, Spoelstra, like you said, great coach, the best coach in the league probably.
Mm-hmm.
My gut tells me, though, if I had to pick away like how this ends up, I think he finishes the year with Milwaukee. And I think if there is any real desire for him to leave, it would be in the offseason.
Gotcha.
That's my belief anyway. I think most fans will tell you that a trade will be imminent and he'll, before January, he'll be traded. I think he will play out the year. I would be shocked if he's traded during the year, but that's me personally. They did say, like, if he does ask for a trade and that's in fact what he wants, they will work with him because of what he's done for the franchise and like let him direct wherever he goes. So New York would also be in the picture there too. And New York's
I think New York is like the least I would like to see him go. I
kind of agree.
There's just something about like the cursed New York where it's like, do they win still even with him? Like I can still see it all just going downhill at some point. I don't.
You know what's funny, and I'd love to hear Keenan's response to this. Like everyone, like if you hear about a Knicks trade for Giannis, people are saying it would be Towns and probably OG Anunoby for Giannis, which is great, right? Jalen Brunson is one of the best players in the league. Throw Giannis in there, raises your ceiling. I honestly think, and Knicks fans would probably kill me for this, I'd almost rather trade Brunson straight up for Giannis. I think Giannis and Towns would be a very intriguing duo. The way Towns can stretch the floor. He's a 7-footer himself.
Plus, losing Anunoby like on the defensive side would be pretty tough to kind of replace. Yes, you're getting Giannis, but like imagine those two together.
Exactly. Exactly, which is kind of the case for Brunson. I think Towns isn't the best defender, but Brunson can't guard anybody. So I don't know. I honestly, like, the more I'm speaking about it too, I really do think I'd like to fit more with Giannis and Towns if that was the trade. New York would never in a million years do that because Brunson's like their darling. But I think they'd be better off without Brunson with Giannis and Towns. Hopefully we talk about that one with Keenan. And, you know, who knows? Maybe Giannis does get traded in the next month and a half here. But like you said, he's going to be out at least 2 to 4 weeks with this injury. I would think more. I think it was a grade 2 strain or whatever it was. So I would think at least a month. And I think they were playing on Christmas Day. So that means we won't get him on Christmas, which is unfortunate.
Damn.
But, hey, this is a fun episode. I'm glad we could get picks in once again. Like we've been telling you, man, this is, to the listeners, to the viewers, this is the meat and potatoes of the season. This is what separates who separates the men from the boys. This is, like, again, I'll call it the preseason of the postseason. That's what weeks 12 through 18 are to me. You see it with the Ravens and Steelers. You see it with the Bears and Packers. You see it with the Chargers and Eagles on Monday night and the Texans and the Chiefs on Sunday night. Those are mini playoff games that we're getting here in just early December. I love it. I love it. They're all check marks. They're all tests. And we're going to get littered with these from here on out. So I can't wait. Spotify, YouTube, Apple, check us out. TikTok, Instagram, like, comment, subscribe, all that. I want to give out to a shout out to my boy Lux, hook me up with these threads. Me and Keenan, we appreciate you. Big fan of the podcast. Human Secret Society we got on right here. He's also got Soli Spadocci, one of the better clothing lines out of NYC. So shouts to Lux. You and Lux have actually had a back and forth about the Giants. He's a big Giants fan. You've been talking shit about him, which reasonably so, because they're the Giants. I mean, what are you going to do? But any last question about the Giants before we go? Since the last time we talked, do you have anybody you for sure want as your number one option for head coach next year?
I don't think so. Like I said, with Spagnuolo, I think that would be a good hire, but I just don't know if he leaves.
You have been on the Spags train.
Yeah.
So you'd rather Spags than an experienced head coach?
Well, I mean, I don't know what experienced head coaches at this point that we're getting. Like, to me, Mike McCarthy doesn't make this a playoff team automatically, and he doesn't make this a Super Bowl team by any means automatically. So,
see, I think you could get the playoffs with Mike McCarthy. Actually,
you could probably get there with Mike McCarthy. I just have we saw this with Jason Garrett, right? When he left Dallas, he came over as a coordinator. It was just not good. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just hating on McCarthy. But
I do think McCarthy would be like a top half head coach, maybe even top 12 or 13 head coach in the league.
I think if they hired him, most like media outlets would be like, this is a good hire. They did the right thing. I just don't. I'm not.
I think it would be good for Dart. Let's say it is Spags. Let's say they hire Spags. Who would you want to be the OC?
That is where the real question comes in, because I don't think Kafka stays. But I kind of like what we've had with Kafka. I think the offense has actually looked pretty solid this year.
They're aggressive. They're aggressive on offense.
They are. And it works. They score points. They can run the ball. So that I'm not too sure. I definitely kind of want to see what they do. Do they keep him? Do they let him go? My guess is they'll let him go. It's very easy, especially since they promoted him to interim head coach. It's very easy for them to say, hey, we got to clean house. We need a fresh slate. We're not going to keep you here. But if they do that, then I'll give you a name after that. Yeah, it really does matter. Like, does Mike McDaniels keep his job for next year? If he becomes available as an offensive coordinator, I'd be interested.
That'd
Absolutely.
be a great pairing, him and Spags, I think. I mean, I don't know. I know Spags was an interim coach at some point after the Coughlin era, and it didn't go well. But he's never really gotten the full reins. So it'd be interesting. And obviously, he's got the ties to New York, and it'd be interesting to see him with a superstar coordinator over there. I agree. All right, we're getting out of here. Once again, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, like, subscribe, comment. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. My bad. I'm getting distracted over here by UFC 324. Last pay-per-view seemingly ever for the UFC. Paramount Plus, if you subscribe to that moving forward, you will get all of the UFC fights for essentially free, or essentially for like what, $7 a month, $7 a month. So if you're a UFC fan or even a casual fan, highly recommend subscribing to Paramount Plus after this. I should be paid by the UFC and Paramount Plus for that plug I just gave. So listen, we're out of here, Tim. This was fun. No positivity bunny for us over here. We got the good vibes anyway. Peace.
We
y'all.
got a negativity bunny for Philly.
We got a negativity bunny at times. We're out of here.